YouTube is Brian Phillips. Look at this. We've got the Granite Voltage from ARRMA. We're excited to be bringing you this. This is a great entry-level hobby grade. This one does have the brushed motor and the stock nickel metal hydride battery.
Yes.
So what we're doing is we're gonna try this right now, and we did not clear our snow because we thought it'd be super cool to drive it in the snow right now. So here goes nothing, guys. As you can see, very good turning radius. Obviously it's got reverse, this thing's supposed to go 20 miles an hour, so we're gonna see what that means. There we go, into the snow. All right, so we're gonna walk out into the snow, and yes, we are gonna track our snow up. For those of you who have to clear snow, you know how dumb that is. But it's gonna be awesome! So here goes nothing. That is a lot of snow, guys.
A lot of snow.
Maybe we should clear the snow. Okay, so we're gonna see how this does. We're just gonna drive right over this berm. Now, this is not a four-wheel drive car as configured, but just to give you an idea, it is sort of water resistant, okay? So the manufacturers sometimes say water resistant and they mean sort of water resistant. I'm just gonna go with sorta, because there is a brushless motor that's poking out the side. My expectation is with enough water, you could make it not water resistant. So as you can see, lots of wheel spin in the snow, and look at that front wheel rim, amazing, so cool. And it's handling it well. I'm going about 50% throttle here, just spinning out like crazy. But then as you can see, because of the ice and snow, it's just super, super fun driftage. But I think what we may have to do, just given the fact that it's like actually a lot of snow, we might have to walk down to the road and pick this video back up. Why don't we do that? Okay, so we're gonna try this again. It is really cold out here, but look at the snow. This is what you get when you live in the country and you give them thousands of dollars to clear the snow for you from the county. You get not cleared roads. Yes, that's right. Thank you, county. We appreciate it very much. Maybe we could get a refund. Oh, but anyway, this is still super fun, and we love driving cars in the snow. I almost think four-wheel drive might have a positive impact on this type of driving, to be perfectly frank. But as you can see, this thing is not gonna make 20 miles an hour in this crazy snow, but it looks good doing what it's doing. All right, let's drive off in the ditch and see what happens. Like a crazy person. This is gonna look just like every other day on the roads during the snow. Oh yeah! It's pretty fun and cool. The thing hasn't flipped over once. We did notice that that was a bit of a problem on the last car we reviewed, and it wasn't really until after we shut off the camera that I realized I could actually flip the thing over, and it's doing pretty dang good for two-wheel drive, but I think I've hit ice. Let's pause and get the handguard involved. Okay, so we are out of the frozen abyss, and we're just gonna try to get out of here. Yes, get out! No, we're stuck again. What the heck is going on here? So we have found a limitation, and the limitation is several inches of snow, plus two-wheel drive will limit your drivability on this car. But what we're gonna do is we're just gonna keep driving it because it's super fun, and we're just gonna enjoy it. So as you can see, the camera crew is filming away, and yes, if you're in a community, if you're in a place that you never get snow, you're missing out because it's so much fun.
Yeah,
just kidding, guys.
Your face is frozen and
yeah,
it's great.
It's wonderful. You'll love it. It's just, oh, we aren't gonna make it up that hill, are we?
Not with the snow.
So guys, I gotta say, I think this truck will do a lot better without this much snow and ice under it. So we're gonna pause and come right back. Okay, so we're gonna do a little nature walk here just to show you the proportional controls. As you can see, it looks like our mail person delivered some mail here, but otherwise there's no tracks, just one set of tracks in the middle. And then as you can see, the thing is really fun. It's agile, it's easy to drive. I haven't had a lot of problems with it. So if you're getting this for a kid, this might be a good entry point for them because some of these cars are frankly quite expensive. So what you wanna do is get them into something that's not gonna necessarily be broken constantly. And the way you can assure that is get a car that's not gonna go quite as quick and then upgrade them as they get better and more skilled. So what we've been doing is we've been stupidly letting our kids drive the really expensive ones and destroying them every time they go down in a ditch. And the problem is we literally made our driving area in a ditch. So that's another thing you could do different than what we did. But as you can see, it's still super fun to drive and fishtailing around. don't have to worry about crashing your truck. You can crash this one instead. And she's doing really good.
There's a lot more snow out here than I thought there was.
I know, I had no idea. I thought it was just like a little light dusting.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, show them upstairs. We have some spectators. They're evidently smarter than us because they're inside right now.
You should go inside and drive. That's what they do. They stand up there and...
So guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna definitely capture another video on this one. And maybe what we're gonna do is just see what type of upgrades we can get for it. Because I think this ARRMA has it in it. It's just that we don't have the environment for it right this second. So if you guys are looking for something fun, that's gonna be a quality, lasting RC investment, this would be a great place to start, guys. The ARRMA Granite Voltage 1/10. This thing's gonna be super fun, and just feel how soft those tires are, even in the cold. So what's gonna happen is once we get some warmer weather, we'll show you full speed and all that good stuff. So stay tuned, guys. So much more from Brian Phillips RC. YouTube's Brian Phillips, look at this. We've got the Granite Voltage from ARRMA. Pretty cool truck, and we are gonna drive this thing. We had to clear the snow, so we may have a clip before or after this that shows what it looks like driving in the deeper snow. But as you can see, the thing has some juice, which is pretty fun, and this is with the brushed motor. So guys, this thing has the stock battery. It's ready to run. It comes with a pistol grip transmitter, pretty basic stuff. Does come even with the batteries for the transmitter, which is really fun, and you can just rip it out like that. If you've got snow and ice on your driveway, that is. And so we've been clearing the snow for a little bit, and I just wanted to get back out here and try this again and see if it does better or if it's pretty much the same situation. As you can see, it's definitely still very slick, so I have to be careful to get my wheels up to speed and then just drive it like you stole it, guys. So this thing is definitely gonna slip, and if you've ever driven in snow, you know how it is. As soon as you do something stupid, it responds. But that being said, this thing is super eager, really fun to drive, pretty easy to keep on the road. Of course, it's slick right now, so you have to drive a little bit more careful and definitely with a different style. So we love reviewing cars, airplanes, VTOLs, helis, and all that stuff here on this channel. But cars are kind of one of the lesser known things that we do, and that's because we've started recently getting into them more. So if you guys see this thing, you like it, you want to see more of it, we are going to do it with a brushless motor, and we're going to do it with a LiPo, because this comes with a nickel metal hydrate, right? So it's definitely a different setup. It's only two-wheel drive at this point, but we're not sure what type of upgrades we're going to do. If you're looking to get something for your kids, though, I think this would be a great starting point because it seems to be quite resilient. I've tried breaking it a few times, and I can't break it yet. Sure, I could try harder and be successful. But as you can see, with snow and ice and all that schmutz on the road, even after having cleared it, the thing still gets around, but it's impacted. The speed is definitely different. Oh yeah. And as you can see, it even makes it out there in the snow. Now, I'm not sure if I just hit low voltage or something shut off because it stopped working. Now, if this thing shuts off on you like that, my guess is it's a low voltage protection, so it's gonna shut off rather than destroy the battery. Now, you might also be thinking, that seems like a relatively short drive time. Well, you wouldn't be right, because our drive time has been impacted by having driven it once already. And so we wanted to show you the full scope of the drive time. And here's how you can also tell. It's steering, but it doesn't drive, okay? So we have no drive, we have no reverse, and we have steering. So that's one way you can tell when your battery is dead. So another cool thing about this is the battery is basically built into the bottom. You can take and open this, and we're gonna show it all in the Unbox build radio setup, which is gonna immediately follow our snowy drive. But we just wanted to show you guys this thing out in the snow, because if you need something to do and it's terrible flying conditions, as you can see from the windsock, cars are a great alternative, but also they are super fun all the time, and you don't need to be quite as skilled to fly these airplanes. That's right, I always say the wrong thing because I'm used to filming airplanes. But this is super cool and super fun, and I think you guys will like it. Oil-filled shocks, squishy tires, all the different things you demand. There's definitely more plastic in this than we've seen on some of the really, really high dollar stuff, but it's built to last and it's resilient, and that's what we like to see. And you guys know, as soon as you get out in snow and terrible weather like this, that's when stuff starts breaking. So obviously it's not breaking on us, which is great. and we have driven it into the banks and all that stuff, and we haven't had any issues yet. So we're really happy with it. One thing I can say is, being that this is a brushed motor, it's supposed to be waterproof, and I'm not sure exactly how they do that. And I'm just gonna walk up here because I'm sick of getting snowed on. But I have found that it is definitely not giving us problems because of the water, and we haven't started, so we are definitely in our low voltage protection. So if you guys have questions, or maybe you want to buy this thing for yourself or one of your kids or your spouse or whatever, you can check the links in the video description below, and you can buy it there and help support Brian Phillips RC. Obviously, these things are a blast, and we want to show you the upgrades as they come out. And so if you check those out, they'll be in the playlist for this vehicle. And also, we're going to keep one probably stock so we can do side-by-sides for you as we get those upgrades installed. But that's more to come, and hopefully it won't look like this when we're doing it. So stay tuned, so much more from Brian Phillips RC. Thanks for watching, guys. Okay, so speaking to the low voltage, I just wanted to show you, we just came in from outside. We're still freezing. This is the same transmitter, obviously, same battery, no tricks. This is the battery from our other car, which of course, if you want to see it, looks like this. It just basically alternates the blue and the red. And so we're going to be reviewing this a little bit more. But what I'll do is I'll show you two things I've learned so far, and that is you can actually get to the battery without taking everything apart. But when these get cold, be careful, because you will sometimes crack them if you're not careful. This seems to do pretty good with the cold. It's still supple. Some of the cheaper Chinese plastics do not do so well, by the way, so please be careful. Then as you can see, you can lower that without taking the top off, and then you can stick your fingers into these round holes here, and you can pull the battery out, which is really nice. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now, if you want to take the top off, it's not super hard, but I do find that sometimes kids have a little harder time getting these clips out, or if you have gloves on, it does make it a little bit more challenging. But I wear these nitrile gloves, which are something that I adopted during COVID at my work, and they've worked really nice. I keep my dexterity, and I can knock the edge off of the cold. Plus, it keeps them from being totally dried out or totally soaked in water, because as you can see, they're wet now, okay? So you can see here, we've got a slow green flash, okay? And so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and unplug this, and then I'm just gonna real quick just show you that this thing still works, and it's just the battery in low voltage protection. Okay, so the power's already on that, so it's gonna take a second to initiate. And as you can see, we have steering, and now I'm gonna just lift the tail and pull the trigger. As you can see, we still have throttle. So what that tells you is that when your voltage drops to a certain level, this battery is gonna protect itself by using the circuit in here. So it's actually not the battery protecting itself, it's the circuit protecting itself. I don't believe these are smart, like what you would get on one of these soft packs or hard packs that you can get that are smart, and they do some of their own protection in that they balance themselves. So anyway, what we're gonna do is we'll show you real quick, even though it's in the unbox, we'll just plug this in and show you how simple this is to charge. You've got a green light. Wherever you can keep your eye on it, go ahead and plug it in, and there it goes to red. And when it's done, it goes to green. It's about as simple as that. And now that's an 1800 milliamp or a 1.8 amp hour at 7.2 volts, nickel metal hydride. Okay, so basically if you go to LiPo, then you're gonna be at 8.4 volts at full charge. So you should expect to get a little bit more performance boost. And also these battery holders can be omitted if you would get a bigger battery, and then you can slide the battery in, and there's lots of little exit points. So just to demonstrate how you would do that, you would slide your battery in, and you would just make sure you don't snap your wire, and you snap it in. But of course, the objective here is to make it nice and easy for you to be able to hold your battery securely, which is an important part of protecting these batteries that are relatively expensive. So anyway, hopefully that answers your questions on the batteries. I was just thinking as we walk through the door, I better share that, because I'm sure that there were some people are gonna be skeptical on the drive times and things like that. What was our first video, roughly?
A little over 5 minutes, I think.
Okay, so 5 minutes plus. About 3 minutes. Okay, about eight minutes in the cold, which is not terrible. Now, if it was warm, I think we'd experience a longer drive time, because we were just churning out the throttle to try to get the thing to go, and it wasn't taking, because the thing is just spinning like crazy. But it was cool to watch, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. So anyway, that's all you get from Brian Phillips RC. We're gonna share this with you now, and if you wanna stay tuned, we'll show the unbox and build and radio setup. Of course, there's not much build involved. You just put you don't even have to put the top on. No. You really just open it, and it's already, you just have to plug it in and then flip the power switch, which is neoprene gasketed. So as you can see, it's not a push button, it's actually a rocker. You slide the switch. So it's a little bit difficult to tell, but you slide the switch like that, or like that. We tend to keep our ESCs on, and then we just plug in the battery when we're ready. That's the safest ways to take the battery out when you're not using it. But of course, this would have a little bit better, more stable chemistry than a LiPo in general. So if you're looking for the safest operation, it'd be like this. Plus, this comes with the battery, or excuse me, with the car truck. And so because it's ready to run with Horizon, you also get the 4 AA's, right? AA's that need to go in here, and they go in there. We'll show you all that stuff in the unbox. So stay tuned, guys. So much more from Brian Phillips RC. Don't forget, if you want to buy this thing and help support our channel, you can follow the links in the video description below. We'll show it as a ready to run in there, and we usually show search results. So if you want to buy it as a bind and run, or if that's such a thing, and if it's available, it'll be there for you. And then also you should be able to click on this link, and it will take you where you can see what accessories you might need if you need to buy some spare parts, or maybe do some upgrade kits and things like that that will follow for second or third thoughts on this thing. But definitely pretty sweet car, like the way it runs. Really fun, but also keep in mind, we do have some limitations. That is 2-wheel drive only. And we also have the second big limitation would be that it is a brushed motor, but that is a pretty amazing performance from a brushed motor. We have seen a lot of brushed motors in our day, as doing ground vehicles is not maybe our mainstay. Of course, it's fixed wing aircraft, but we do helicopters, VTOLs, all that stuff. And brushed is kind of a bad word in the airplane realm. We don't hardly ever see brushed motors. But on cars, we do see brushed motors, and they're maybe a little bit more tenable because they're heavier, and weight is not a bad thing on cars. They're also quite a bit cheaper to make, but this is a big motor, and when you put in brushless, that thing's gonna be nuts. So very excited to see that. And then also the second, of course, is that it's just a rear-wheel drive vehicle. So if you're getting this for your kids, one thing that's nice about that is there's not a 4-wheel drive gearbox to deal with. There's not a front differential to deal with. And so it's maybe a little bit less to fix when they decide to break it. And that does happen from experience, I can tell you. So definitely a great place to start and a great place to be. But it's gonna give you a little bit of room to grow, which is super cool. So definitely check it out, guys, in the link in the video description below. If you wanna see more from Brian Phillips RC, but you don't like navigating through the YouTube menus, first of all, if you're on our channel, just click on my face. It will bring you to our channel, and you can click on search. You can search there, or you can go over to brianphillipsrc.com. And then also be looking for the bprc.me links, which are going to be our new mini domain, short domain. Yep. So if you see those links, they're legit. It's the domain that we just got so that we could do our short links and try to keep things cleaned up a little bit. And if you do see a broken link, holler at us in comments or send us an email in the About tab, and we'll be eternally grateful to you for helping us to find those broken links, because when they do exist, it's very difficult for us to keep up because we have so much footage out there. So with that, stay tuned. Unbox coming next. Appreciate you watching. The time has come. Brian Phillips RC here. We're gonna open this thing, and it's gonna be amazing, and you already know it because you're on Brian Phillips RC. It goes without saying, I'll probably interrupt myself in about 15 seconds here when I get this thing cut, which I finally did. Oh yeah! We have the ARRMA, 20 miles an hour. What is this thing? This is the ARRMA, what is it? Ready to run. Is it the
Granite?
Granite?
Okay. Monster truck.
Granite voltage monster truck. So we're gonna get this thing out of the box right now. I believe, are these ones that we can upgrade too?
Yes.
So this one is gonna be the stock, bone stock offering, and we're gonna see how amazing it really is. And so if you look on the side, oh yeah, look at that, fancy dance. And if you look over here, you can see, ooh, it's also got a blue finish. And then if you look right here, it shows what it comes with, which is pretty sweet. It's got the Mega 20T 54D motor. Waterproof, ready to run. It's got a brushed motor, 2-year limited warranty. I don't know what that means. And then, oh, it does come with an EC3 connector compatible, okay? And then it also includes four AA batteries? That's incredible. Okay. And then just a couple of pictures of what's included inside of the bearings and the gearboxes and all that good stuff. So really oil-filled shocks. Yeah, baby. Here we go. Okay, so some of you may not know this because Brian Phillips RC is largely centered around fixed-wing aircraft and aircraft, which we obviously still love, and we just do this little Surface Wednesday thing from time to time. So we can bring you cool products like this, and we love to be able to bring these, but some of you don't know that I used to do cars, and I've done cars for years, well before we did a YouTube channel. So, very cool. All right, looks like there was some banging around going on. Okay, so this is obviously the blue one. And we have the transmitter here in this box. And then we have what appears to be the battery right here or something like that, charger. Yep, charger, okay, cool. So this comes with a charger. Okay, looks very basic. And what does this thing put out? This puts out 8.4 volts at 500 milliamp hours. And of course we've got the batteries, which are gonna go into the pistol grip style transmitter. I think these ones are way nicer than the ones we get.
Yeah, they all save us like a whole 8 cents on the 4 that
yeah,
we
these ones are the go-to brand, the Nuke Zinger. But they are heavy, so that usually means there's a lot of chemistry going on.
Thunderbolt, Magnum,
Thunderbolt? I think it's Thunderbutt.
Yeah.
The ones we buy.
Yeah.
They're really bad. So we're gonna cut open the pistol transmitter. Now guys, the Unbox build radio setup of airplanes, it can be pretty robust and complicated, but on cars it's usually not. So we don't mean to make this into something it's not. Okay, forward and reverse. Spongy, got a little simulated brake on there, and very large, super wide. Not sure why it's so wide, but that's all right. And we have the magazine style, nope, just drop them in. Okay, cool. So I'm trying to see for sure, but it looks like the polarity would be somewhat obvious. Just drop them in like that. And since this is a Horizon hobby product, there'll be a manual that actually tells you things that you might want to know. And if you ever need to see a manual item, check out the link in the video description below. Obviously, you can buy the cars and trucks there, but there's also supplemental materials there too. So some of you guys are going to need that. And from time to time, it's helpful to remind you because I do get a lot of questions on the channel. We try to help. And then look at this beauty! Amazing! Okay, we've got some squishage here. That's always good. If you can squeeze that, that'd be wonderful. And then what's weird about this is there's nothing right here. So it's just a different shape than we're used to. And so let's go ahead and pull the pins. One, two,
pin style.
3, and 4. Okay. I would like it if there were some wings on there. Those things make it a little easier to take off for the kids. And then we have this beautiful Granite voltage. That is a pretty sweet looking truck, actually. Look at that. It's nice. Okay, looks like it's painted from the bottom, which is nice. And then of course we've got the license plate, door handle, simulated lights, and simulated lights up front. So that's pretty sweet, but this is really what we're after, which is the guts of the goodies. And you'll notice that the battery is already in there, it looks like. That is so cool. Man, that is super stiff back here. Look at that. Just really stiff on that movement there. And then definitely have tons of throw, oil-filled shocks, adjustable shocks, no less, and then big, heavy-duty parts, which is nice. And yes, this thing, if it flips over, it looks like it's gonna fare well. Definitely has, I think there's some foam in there too. So differential back there, obviously this is the 4-wheel drive. Is this 4-wheel drive or is this 2-wheel drive? Is this 2-wheel drive? I can't tell. I think this is 2-wheel drive, guys. So it's just gonna be a rear-wheel drive for us, which will be something that we haven't seen yet. Okay, so EC3 antenna. Looks like the plug that goes up to the servo. This is a proprietary servo, it looks like. So there's 5 wires that go on there. There's an on-off switch. And then the battery comes from down below. So I think the battery would come out the side. So let's look at how that works. Clip and pop. Clip and pop from ARRMA. okay? So you can see there's this filler, and I'm not sure how that battery comes out. If it does come out, I'm pretty sure it does come out. You would have to assume it does, but I honestly, I don't know exactly how that pops out. If it does, it definitely comes out, doesn't it?
It does. You just lost a little piece.
Well, let's find it real quick. We'll come right back. Always want to have your protection on.
Yeah.
So that got knocked off of here. Okay. So that's just going to protect the tip. Just like this. Oh, geez. I'm going to fold the tip over the top. I'm going to stick that on there. Okay, so that protects that, guys. Okay, so I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to figure it out right now. It looks like that thing just slides out and then the battery is accessible. Yes, it is. There it is. Okay. So this is a nickel metal hydride, I think. And this is going to hold different battery sizes. Now, because these this is just basically going to have a basic charger, okay? So if you were to put a LiPo in here, the LiPo would be able to go in there, and you want to just do a 2S LiPo, and that's going to give you more voltage. But you'll just want to be careful because this is a heavy duty, what we would call something. This is still technically a soft pack, but I think it's closer to a hard pack because this is a different chemistry. The LiPos are softer. But let's just see if we can fit a 3200 in there. I think a 3200, or do we have a 3200 2S? This is a 1800 milliamp hour. Let's just see how big 2200 3S would definitely go in there. And again, these are 3S, so this would be one size too big. Okay, so that's a 3S. So you can see that looks like it would get really close to fitting in the soft pack. The hard packs are a little bit bigger. So I bet you could go with a 3200 or somewhere in that 3000 on a LiPo. So that's pretty cool. So as we normally do, we're gonna charge this and show you how to plug it in. It's a very basic charger. You don't have anything special to do. But if you have a smart charger, if you wanna use your smart charger, I think generally you'd be using the S155, having to be charging another battery. So we're gonna drop that down. We're gonna plug this in, and then it's gonna see the voltage there, and you would press and hold, and then you have to set the chemistry. So if you go up here to the battery, it says LiPo. So let's see if we have it on here. There it is, okay? And then the cells, auto, and then you would just set this to 1800 milliamp hours. Now this screen, for the sake of videotaping, is a little bit easier to see. And I'm gonna charge this at one-time charge rate, so 1.8 amps. And then I'm gonna go down to start. Okay, so it's starting, and so that's gonna charge here. So that's if you're using the S2200 dual charger, or you could actually use the S155, which is a great option because you do get both the XT60, excuse me, not the XT60, but you've got the IC3 and the IC5, just like the big brother, which is pretty cool, and it's considerably cheaper. But just real quick to show you what it does, I'm gonna unplug this, and then it just cancels out of its startup. This is the way this charger works. This is the one that's provided. We only show you the bigger ones because we know that you'll automatically know how to use this charger. It's just so basic and simple. You just plug it in, the light goes to red, and then it charges, okay? So now also, if you have an XBC battery checker, because this has an IC3 on it, and of course these are tools that we generally encourage you to get as you're getting into the hobby, especially for aircraft, you can plug these in and it will tell you what your voltage output is. But remember, you don't have individual cells because this is a different chemistry style. So it's just gonna be in series to get up to that voltage. And I'm gonna plug this in and let it charge for a little bit. And then we can see when that light goes from red to green, it will be done for us. So pretty cool and basic setup. But also remember, if you wanna go and migrate over to lithium polymer packs, whether it be hard packs or soft packs like what we use in the aircraft, the hard packs would be more for the cars, then you can do that. And also look how big this is. So there's an arrow. I don't know if that means it goes that way. Let's see. Oh yeah, definitely goes that way. And then it comes out, okay? So it's definitely got a groove. So that's really nice, nice clean setup, toolless installation there. And then even though we have the little clips, it's still toolless, which is nice. So also, did we get any decals? I believe we got something. Let's see what we got. Okay, so we got looks like a tool. We got the charger, we got the 4 AA batteries. Let's see if there's any other decals or anything in here. Okay, this looks like some sort of a clip release. Okay, so that's simple stuff. And then of course the manual is going to give you mostly warnings and notices in different languages. Good Lord, there's a lot of languages at the beginning. And then it just talks about how to do things, if you need to do things, which how hard can it be? We'll find out in about 2 minutes. So what we're probably gonna do is we're just gonna pop that battery in uncharged because we don't need to show all the full speed and that sort of thing when we're inside. But what we will do is we'll show you it working, which is kind of nice. So we'll take a second, get cleaned up and come right back. All right, so we have the 1800 milliamp hour battery. Try not to do that. We're just gonna slide this in and show you the entire process. When you use this tray, you drop it in like that, and then you can get your lead out really easy, which is nice and well thought out. And believe me, they're not always that way. Okay, that was very easy. Okay, so now the second thing is you don't wanna be pulling this when you start. Okay, so we put it to the on condition, or is that, oh, here, there's on. I don't know what that does yet, but we'll find out. So obviously there's a red light to indicate that it's turned on, and we're just gonna plug this in and see what becomes of it. Now this is not fully charged, so don't be too worried about it. Okay, so I don't see anything yet, and that's because this is not on. There's a power button here. It slides forward and backward. So now that it's on, you can definitely see proportional control, so you can give just a little bit or a lot. And I'm just gonna pull the trigger, and you can go very slow. That's pretty cool. And this, what size is this, 1/10?
1/10, yep.
1/10, so I can go in there and just drive almost all the way off. That's pretty sweet. The differential killed me on that though, because obviously I dropped down my wheel. Okay, so there we go. And so you can see with proportional controls, and look how sharp that thing turns. Yeah. That is amazing controllability. For being a relatively big setup, there's definitely a lot of controllability there. Okay, so now let's talk about putting the top back on. If you guys aren't already aware how this works, pretty basic stuff. Find your steer. If you don't know which side's the front, just turn the wheel and drop this thing down. It looks like there's different body holes here, so you can actually maybe put that on a different size as well. But the thing that's nice is look how much clearance you have on that monster truck.
Yeah.
There's actually room to do things with your stuff, which is important when you start getting into cars like this. And let's just get all 4 of them clipped. That's one thing that your kids are gonna be impatient with, so you just have to teach them to be patient and do the clips. Okay, so there we go. So that looks pretty sweet. And I wanna jump off of the counter, but I'm not sure if I can do that. Am I allowed to do that, camera crew?
Oh, okay.
Yep, hit the floor. Well, it didn't damage the floor that I can see because I didn't look too close. So obviously it works, and it's definitely got some good tires. And then there's a cat out here, so this is a perfect place to be driving. Excuse me, cat. So obviously the reverse and the braking works. Now remember, guys, the battery is pretty much dead right now, okay? So it's not gonna be like ultra blazing fast, but I just wanted to show you kind of the general performance of the controllability, which is good. Controllability is very important to me, and to be honest, it's probably the most, if not, for most people, it's the most important category, because controllability for me trumps speed. Speed is fun, but if you can't control speed, speed just becomes expensive. So I like the fact that it's got really good steering, really precise steering. And then I do also like the fact that the tires are huge. There's good surface area on there. And I like that the body is not ultra tall, which means you're gonna be getting better clearance. And I also like the fact that there's some flexibility on how you put the battery in, so that if you have a slightly different size, you can get away with it. And by the way, I haven't given more than about 10 to 15% throttle here. The full throttle, I'm sort of afraid to give it full throttle because a 10th scale in our house could turn into some damage. And also the battery's dead. So I don't want to be defeating about how fast or not fast this car could be. So there you have it, guys. The ARRMA Granite voltage in 1/10 scale. This is with the brushed motor and the provided ready to run battery. So it's gonna be much faster if you go to a LiPo, and it's also gonna be much faster if you go to a brushless motor at some point, when and if that becomes available, which is pretty sweet. And definitely excited to get that thing out in the snow and drive it in the mud or whatever we can come up with, because we've had some really cold weather. And so I think it's gonna be really fun to show these things off, and we hope you guys will be back. But anyway, if you have questions, leave them in the comments below. We'll do our best to try to help you out as much as we can. If you wanna support us, smash the like button, click the bell for notifications, and subscribe. That costs you nothing. But then if you wanna help us financially, you can buy these items from the links in the video description below. We'll link to the vehicle, we'll link to the battery we use if we switch to something else other than just the ready to run. And then we would normally link to a transmitter, except in this case, it comes again with a transmitter. So this is the provided one that it comes with. And also, if you're curious, you can also make some changes on your settings here. There's low, high, and dual rates. So the dual rate speaks to how much it moves at full output, okay? So usually you don't wanna go all the way because you might break one of the linkages, but you can go there. Now there's also this thing here, so I'm not sure what that does. Let's try test. Speed. Okay, so I don't see that there's any difference there. That's reverse. That's pretty cool. Okay, so then I don't know that that's actually used in this application. It says made in China there. Okay, so yeah, I don't think I'm missing anything. There's also a bind button. So if you'd happen to crash and the receiver gets broken, and so you have to replace that, then you would have to use the bind button here to actually bind your transmitter back to the receiver, which is the red thing with the power switch on it. Now, one question I always like to answer too that I didn't answer already is, can I get to the battery without taking it out? And the answer to that question is maybe. And it depends on how easy it is to get your EC3 unplugged, because historically EC3 is not the easiest thing to unplug, and you don't want to yank on the cable directly, okay? So I think the answer would be yes, you probably can, but you're gonna have to pop out the battery first. And so for me to do it, I push down on the tab, I push down on the tab, that folds opened, then I can access it because this is pretty flexible. Now, when it's really cold, you'll want to be super careful about that though, guys, because if it's super cold, you don't want to have, you know, this thing break on you. So then you can do that and you can get to it. Might be a little bit easier, but it might also be easier to just undo the top and get to it this way, okay? And you can get in there and do your business. So obviously we need to charge our battery, because a charged battery is gonna increase the performance, and it's also gonna give us a long run time. And that's one of the things we'll try to show you so you can see how long the run time is. But just keep in mind, it has been very cold where we are in central Iowa in January. So if it's warm where you are, or it's warm when you're watching this, you can expect to get a little bit better performance, unless it's extremely hot, and then you might have the same problem in the other direction, because batteries like to work at comfortable temperatures. So anyway, guys, beautiful. Can't wait to get this thing out and just tear it up. It's gonna be very fun. We're trying to do some more of the fast stuff now that we've kind of done millions of crawlers, and I really do like crawlers myself. I love scale stuff, but then I love these bashers and smashers, and all the fun monster trucks too are super fun. And if you guys haven't experienced one of the newer cars that have all this technology packed into them, you should check them out, and they're in our links in the video description below. Also check out brianphillipsrc.com if you want to see some of all the action we've done. It is so much of it. It's so many different things. It's hard for you to even navigate the playlist right here on YouTube. So if you go over there, it'll help you sort through the plethora of footage. And I'm talking hundreds. I mean, we got months of footage, literally months and months of footage you could sit and watch back to back. We have that much. So you can cancel a cable and just watch Brian Phillips RC from now on. So anyway, guys, hopefully this helps you answer your questions too as to whether or not you want to get this Granite voltage from ARRMA. Thanks for watching.